so yummy. Hello everyone and welcome back to Amity Bloom. It feels like it's been forever now, but I think it's just been a couple of weeks. I'm back and I'm going to be playing in my scrap journal. I am supposed to be sharing with you guys some behind the scenes and process videos of the journal collection that I'm working on. But I just wanted to sit down and play in my journal, quite honestly, and those are the times when I think inspiration strikes you the best to play and to document your life in your journal. So spring is finally here. The flowers are all blooming, and spring is the inspiration behind the journal spread that I want to do today. So I really hope that you guys enjoy taking a peek as to how I decorate the pages inside of my scrap journal, and I hope that you guys get inspired. So let's see what I end up creating. I'm using the first couple of pages in my journal for this layout, and I am grabbing this ephemera piece. It's actually the front portion of a cross-stitch embroidery book that I got from the thrift store. It has the patterns and instructions to do that beautiful floral cross-stitch. Both the main focal floral image and the floral borders were stunning, and they looked beautiful in my journal, and I saved them as ephemera pieces. So I'm deciding where to put that gorgeous image. And then I also pulled out some fabric scraps, paper scraps, and even die scraps. From using my die cut machine, I cut out these dies. Don't throw them away. They have that beautiful image already cut into them that you couldn't create by hand. So the whole concept behind this journal is using your scraps to create and embellish. Super affordable and really easy to do. It takes the pressure away from creating a perfect spread. And as you can see, I'm just aligning them however I feel that they best look on the page. And I decided to put that floral image on the book page, and then of course embellish it with a strip of piano roll paper, a scrap actually, left over from the projects that we made earlier. And while I put it on the page, I kind of tugged at it and it ripped it in a really organic way, which I really enjoyed. It was a mistake, but I ended up loving the look. I'm gluing on my main focal floral image that I cannot get enough of it. I wish I would have copied it to framed it. Taking a sip of coffee to continue with my journal spread, and I'm cutting a strip of this beautiful roll of washi. It's actually matte, craft, and already has lines printed onto it. It couldn't have been more perfect, and I think I purchased it from Etsy, as well as this blue gold foiled washi that I thought went beautifully with the blue tints and the flowers of the cross-stitch image. I loved the colors going on with this page, and I really liked how I incorporated both new and old scraps of ephemera. I then decided to grab these little strips of tiny word phrases in typewriter font from the sweetest girl that I know, Tiffany Julia. She has a shop and a YouTube channel, which I will post right here on the screen. Definitely go and check her out. Give her some love. I purchased her March digital printed kit. March was my birthday month, and I fell in love with her stickers and ephemera that she makes, and I wanted to send my support to her wonderful shop, and I hope that you guys do the same. So now on the other page, I'm taking the die and gluing that first, just because I want to hide the second die on the bottom with the fabric. So it's a game of layering. Whatever you want to be on top, make sure you glue that last. And I'm taking that French book page and I'm gluing it on top of the fabric so that the fabric kind of blends into the phrases. Then I'm taking some piano paper, a scrap of course, gluing it behind the die so that it brings more emphasis to it. And I love the look of the left-hand side, all of the scrappy bits collaged. That's what makes my heart sing, when you use elements of your work that were left over in your creations and you bring them together into your journal pages. They do create harmony without even thinking about it twice. And that's why I encourage you all to try your hands at making a scrap journal and using just scraps to decorate inside of it. It's creative liberation and freedom when you get to a point where you don't think twice about what you want to put in your journal, you just create. So now I'm making kind of like a floating pocket that will become permanent later on. I wanted to cut it at an angle, but I thought it looked kind of wonky, so later on I do trim that off. But I'm folding the bottom portion up so that I can close the pocket, just adding glue and you can close it up, cutting off a little strip so that it's not too bulky at the bottom. Since we are going to be gluing it with double-sided tape, I'm not going to be sewing it on since the book is already made. I don't want to add too much bulk. And as you can see, it looks kind of too angular. Like, it reminds me of math class when we learn about like obtuse and acute angles. So I wanted to cut that off. This isn't math class. This is my creative journaling time. So I'm taking some glue just so that I can close that pocket up. Just a regular glue stick is fine. You can sew it if you want to add a little more pizzazz to your pages. And within the pocket, I'm going to be including a fabric tag that I made from the Magnolia Rose fabric bundle a long time ago. I think it was made in. And I'm taking some double-sided tape to create a double pocket on that page. So a pocket on the inside of the book page and a pocket on the back. And I did this because I wanted to journal about something very special to me that my sister actually wrote a letter to me. It had to do with our pet, or my pet hamster Bubbles, which I will get to later on, but I really needed to make the most of that small space for journaling. And then I'm going through Tiffany Julia's stickers and ephemeras. You can see they spring. It yells spring with the beautiful images and the colors. Makes me so happy. So I'm going through and I want to pick out some more things from her collection. And I actually loved the packaging, this little bag that the stickers and the ephemera came in. And I want to include that letter inside of that little envelope because I didn't want to just put a plain piece of white stark paper in the back of the pocket, and I want to enhance it a little bit more. So I took a scrap piece of music paper, kind of like a label sticker, and then I put the letter that my sister wrote to myself right in the inside, so it kind of diminishes that stark white contrast that the letter originally had. So if any of you struggle like me with placing a white paper on your journal spreads, you can sometimes create a pocket to hide the white emphasis and tuck it away. So now I am taking one of my favorite of all time fabric washies. This is from our Vintage Floral Fabric Washi Pack, and I am using that beautiful, gorgeous Vintage Floral Washi Scallop Square right on front of the book page pocket because I thought there was too much white going on and I wanted to add some more color to brighten things up a bit. Now focusing on the back of the textured page, as you can see it's embossed on both sides, so it's very difficult to write on. Two things that you can do. You can glue some writing paper right on top and then you can journal right on top of the paper, or you can collage different types of scraps together, which of course I choose the second option because I get to use most of my paper scraps and it's a lot more fun because you get to create your little puzzle of papers that make you happy. For me, it was a 1-inch piece of vintage wallpaper and music paper that I added on the edge, and it just makes me smile every time I look at it. And now I am starting to journal on top of that label, or faux label as I like to call it, where I take some paper and I treat it like a label. And I am just writing a letter to Bubbles. So going into the story, I had our Bubbles, which was a dwarf hamster, a little mini one. She was 1 inch to 2 inches in size, and she passed away on the 31st of March. And it was really difficult for me. I know it's just a hamster, but it was the first pet that I ever purchased when I moved out of my parents' home. And she was just very special in my heart, and I know she's in a better place now. So we wrote a letter, both my sister and I, to Bubbles, and I keep it in that pocket. And that's what I suggest for you all if you guys have furry friends or even animals that pass away in your yard. Write to them, give them a space, a memorial in your journal, and it's a form of thanking them for the love that they gave you and the happiness that they provided. When you are writing in your journal, you are transferring your thoughts and your memories onto paper, and you can customize this however you see fit. I am journaling about springtime, and I wrote a phrase in Spanish that I journaled on a scrap piece of paper to give it more of an emphasis on the page so that it's the main phrase that stands out. And then I am gluing a little piece of paper that looks like a notepad on the smaller portion of the page, and then just replacing the scrap piece on the bottom so that I can have more journaling space. When you write in your journal, you are creating permanent tattoos of words and memories that will stay there forever, that have a special place in your heart, and are extremely therapeutic when you write from your heart and from your soul. I use my journal as a creative vessel where I can do whatever I find that makes my heart happy. For this page, I decided to use some paints and create a color palette on the colors of spring that inspired me from that floral cross-stitch image. If you are new to using paints or watercolors, but you want to add a pop of color onto your pages, yet you're a bit intimidated about drawing, start creating color palettes on the sides of your pages. It adds a pop of color, it gives your pages a more artistic look, and it's just so much fun playing with color in a way that doesn't bring anxiety if you mess up your drawing or your doodle. I'm journaling about the colors of spring, the colors that are sometimes seen in the flowers that are blooming right now. And whenever I was little, I always thought that the flowers, the way that they got their colors was from their roots. I imagined underground a rainbow of roots growing in different places, and that is why the flower got its color. So pink and purple flowers had pink and purple roots, and it was something very magical for me. And I remember seeing the movie Avatar with my parents. That is exactly how I imagined nature at night or when we close our eyes. All of the colors just blooming from the ground, and it makes the flowers bloom in the color that is in their roots. And so I wanted to draw at my attempt of roots, of a bulb and of roots, because all the flowers, they start in the ground and they start with their roots. And I always compare humans to flowers blooming. We all have our roots planted in the ground, and depending on where your roots are and how you're directing your roots, that's pretty much the way that you're going to live your life and the path that your roots will lead you to. So these pages, they have to do with spring, but I go a lot deeper with that, with my thoughts about how during this time everything is growing and blooming, but at the same time so many people are experiencing loss. Some people smaller loss than others. You know, I lost a hamster, but you probably lost a sister, a family member. And it's during this time when I remember that the roots that have helped you bloom and everything grow will eventually help you go back into the earth where it all began. I really hope that you guys enjoy taking a peek at my journaling process with how I use the scraps left over from my projects to decorate my scrap journal, how I like to use these papers to best document my life and my memories. I like to share everything with my journal and with my book, and I think the key to getting the most out of journaling, no matter how decorative or how simple it is to be authentic in your book and to write and document from your soul and from your heart. And using beautiful papers and decorations that speak to you is just the icing on the cake. But the main thing that I want to get through this video is write in your journal, document your life and your memories and your thoughts, because later on you will become thrilled seeing everything that you have lived shared in a book and documented over time to treasure, to hold, and to inspire you to continue living a creative life. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. I will be seeing you very, very soon. And until next time, I hope that you guys have an amazing day full of peace and love. and I hope this video has inspired you to grab your journal and to start playing.